dear students. In last lecture we have discussed about the basic terminologies and approach of Aristotle, which is based on the artificial observations, or we can say it is nothing but an artificial approach. In that basis, living systems are classified into two groups, that is animal kingdom and plant kingdom. So on the basis of active movement and ability to carry out the process of photosynthesis, they are classified into kingdom plants and kingdom animals. So here second approach is nothing but a natural approach. And in the middle of 18th century, Swedish biologist that is Charles Linnaeus in 1758 devised a binomial nomenclature system. It was found more useful as on the basis of that binomial nomenclature system, all the living world are classified and given a scientific name which was widely accepted. So this system expresses the biological nature of object, that is classified. So by following the proper protocol and procedure on the basis of distinguishing characteristics or similar or dissimilarity between the organisms, they are classified, placed into particular group, and after complete process that organism are given a particular scientific name, and that name or the naming system was devised by the Charles Linnaeus, and that system are called as nothing but a binomial nomenclature system. By this way, each organism or the individual organism which was given a particular type of name was accepted worldwide. Throughout world, that organism was identified or can be identified by using that particular name. No repetition is followed in that case, and that system is identical. So in this way, that system nowadays we can also follow a binomial nomenclature system. Binomial nomenclature, what is that? This scheme was a practical and adaptable to expanding information. So that system is widely accepted as it was a practical, or practically you can apply particular system for the classification, and adaptable to scientific world. Each organism is designated by two names, that is for each organism are given a particular two names, and that name includes nothing but a genus name and species name. For each organism was identified on the basis of from which genus that organism belongs, and after complete identification that species or the organism was given a particular name, that is nothing but a species name. So for following the protocol of the binomial nomenclature system, two names are given, that is one is genus name and another is a particular that species name. So that is nothing but a binomial nomenclature system. The first name is organism genus name, and second is its specific epithet, that is together the two constitute the species name. Here you can follow the binomial nomenclature system in that the first name which used was nothing but a organism which belong to that particular genus, and species, that is nothing but its species name. The specific name is always Latinized and underlined or italicized. In that way, or in that era, computer was not developed or not used for the routine purpose. So that's why, or that process are in that Latinized name can be used, that organism's name, or that species or genus name are always underlined to, so that we can identify that underlined word is nothing but a name of particular genus or scientific name of that particular genus and species, or italicized, or in italicized, that means here you can see a normal font is like that, and italicized is nothing but a small slanting wording of that particular genus and species can be used. These are nothing but the rules to how to write the scientific name of genus and species. So in this binomial nomenclature system, either they are Latinized or underlined or italicized to write down particular name of the genus or species. The genus designation is capitalized. For each genus name, the particular first word is always capitalized like this, and species name are not capitalized, like it is written in a small letters in alphabetical. So genus name is always capitalized and species name is written in a small letters. If, for example, here how to binomial nomenclature is followed. Example taken as a human is nothing but a member of animal kingdom, and here Homo is nothing but a name of genus, and sapien is nothing but a species name. Or Homo sapiens, here underline were used for to write down a particular scientific name. Here italicized or that particular name is written in a italic manner. So in that way we can also write down the specific name. In case of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, nothing but a bacterial name. So here Mycobacterium, M is considered to be capital letter, and tuberculosis, that is species name, is written in a small letter. So in this way binomial nomenclature can be used for write down a species and genus name. For convenience, the genus designation can be replaced with an initial. For example, Staphylococcus aureus becomes ES aureus. Sometimes what happens, for particular genus name, that name is too lengthy, or after continuous repetition while write down a paragraph about that particular organism or animal, repetition of that genus name is continuous occurring, and it becomes quite difficult to write down for every time the complete name of genus. So that's why another modification is carried out. Here only the Staphylococcus, here ES stands for the name of genus, that is Staphylococcus, and aureus is nothing but a species name. In that way that modification was carried out, that is write down or writing the name of initial word of that particular genus name. All eukaryotes and prokaryotes are named in this way, but that system is not applicable for the viruses. So by using that binomial nomenclature system, all the eukaryotic organisms and prokaryotic organisms are given a particular scientific name depending upon their characteristics, and they are classified into different groups. But this system of which was devised by the Charles Linnaeus not applicable for the viruses. So for viruses we can also follow the another classification system. The Charles Linnaeus scheme used the following hierarchical classification system. Here, how that organisms are classified, here we have taken a particular example. Here, genus is nothing but the lower level classification of the organism, on that species is placed, and in that hierarchical position at bottom, that is species. Species, specific, epithet. Again, next level for that classification is nothing but genus name, family name or name of family, name of order, to which order that organism belongs, name of class that organism belongs, phylum, division, or we can say subphylum, and kingdom. So on that basis, these organisms are classified by following that particular hierarchical position. So here the example for human: kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, in bracket subdivision you can say Vertebrata, order, so you can say class Mammalia, order Primates, family Hominidae, genus Homo, and species is Homo sapiens. It is nothing but for animal kingdom. For that another microorganisms use kingdom Monera, that is prokaryotic organism. These are nothing but a phylum Dracyliciutes, Scotobacteria is nothing but a class of that particular bacteria, Spirochaete is nothing but a order of that organism, Spirochaete is nothing but a family of that organism, Treponema is nothing but a genus of that organism, and Treponema pallidum is nothing but a species. So in this way, proper organization of classification system can be followed. Here we will discuss about the next point, that is phylogenetic approach. In 19th century, biologist Darwin, though in terms of evolutionary affinities between organisms, or he taught the evolutionary affinities between two organisms, how they are evolutionary related with one another. So here we have to discuss about the Darwinism, or it is nothing but the era of Darwin, where he contributed for the classification of organisms. He started a concept of natural system, change accordingly if change in phylogenetic one, but this required more record of fossils. So on the basis of fossil records, here Darwin can classify that organism, and as the organisms are evolved according to natural selection process or different processes, so in that way that evolutionary system or phylogenetic analysis we can carry out. German German Ernst Haeckel separated the unicellular organism from plants and animals, placing them under a third kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. So here, when we talk about the organism, they are prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Apart from that, some organisms they are unicellular. For that, another kingdom, that is kingdom Protista, was developed or used or evolved in that, or the prokaryotic unicellular organism are placed in that particular kingdom. So it is nothing but a phylogenetic approach. Here, organisms are classified on the basis of their cellular organizations. So here we have discussed about the three kingdom classification system on the basis of cellular organization. They are classified. Here, three kingdoms are used: kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia, and kingdom Protista. It was devised by the Haeckel. And here, for kingdom Plantae, the organism which belong to the kingdom Plantae or included in the kingdom Plantae, they are eukaryotic. That means their cells are completely developed. Multicellular, cells are more than one. That is multicellular. There are always a cell wall present in that organism. Cell wall is always present. They carry out their reproduction by means of sexual or sexual mode of reproduction. They carry out the process of photosynthesis. Also, they acquire nutrients from environment by means of absorption. So these are nothing but the characteristics of plants which are categorized into kingdom plant. For example, all plants, they are, whether they are herbs, shrub or tree, are also placed in the kingdom plant. Another kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia. They are eukaryotic, that means they are highly developed cells, multicellular. They didn't contain cell wall in their cellular structures. Primarily carried out reproduction by means of sexual reproduction. Acquire nutrients from environment by ingestion. Here they carried out their or they absorb their nutrition by means of absorption. Here they carried out their nutrition or acquired their nutrition by means of ingestion. Some parasites by absorption. So though parasites are eukaryotic organism, they carry out their absorb their nutrition by means of absorption. So apart from that, some differences are present. They are again classified into another group. Apart, all the higher animals are included into the kingdom Animalia. That is the second kingdom. Here, kingdom Protista, as some organisms are prokaryotic and unicellular, they found. So they developed or devised another kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. It includes eukaryotic organisms, unicellular or multicellular, autotrophic or heterotrophic. Either they are autotrophic or heterotrophic, or both say they follow the process, that is autotrophic or heterotrophic. Locomotion by means of cilia or flagella. They are small organisms. They carry out their locomotion by means of flagella or cilia. For example, fungus, protozoa, bacteria, and algae were included in this group, as these are the members of this kingdom Protista. So in this way, as the scientific discipline are developing day by day, organisms are classified into three groups. Apart from that, some organisms which are shows the characteristics similar to that of plants or animals, or their problem is that whether that organism plays into kingdom plants or animalia. So apart from that, 5 kingdom classification system is developed, and on the basis of that 5 kingdom classification system, we can place or classify the living world into 5 kingdoms. So it is about the basic classification pattern where we have to discuss about the binomial nomenclature system and 3 kingdom classification system, which was given by the